Adoption is a blessing for all involved, but it's also complicated, especially when the child is from another country and critical details sometimes fall through the cracks. Details like birth dates. An Indiana couple named Michael and Christine Barnett adopted a Ukrainian-born child in 2010. They were parents already, biologically, 3 times over, all boys. They believed they were welcoming a 6-year-old daughter who was born with a form of dwarfism that is often disabling. Her name? Natalia Grace. Presumably, the Barnetts saw at least the possibility of a rocky transition from a Ukrainian orphanage to a series of foster homes to a forever home in Indiana. But they never expected to be in an Indiana courtroom 2 years later, asking a judge to change Natalia's legal age from 8 to 22. Almost from the start, they suspected their new addition was much older than the adoption papers stated. She had permanent teeth, the couple claimed, and pubic hair, and she had started her periods. Quote, her records were falsified, Michael declared in a TV interview, and quote, this is an adult masquerading as a child, end quote. The court granted their petition. 1 year later, in 2013, Natalia Grace's forever home became her former home. The Barnetts moved her out and set her up in her own apartment. And then Michael, Christine, and the 3 boys, they all moved to Canada. Their eldest son, Jake, is autistic, but a math and science savant. At 15, he started graduate studies in theoretical physics in Ontario. Christine wrote a whole memoir about him called The Spark, and he was profiled on 60 Minutes.
For Jake, fun is reciting from memory the infinite series of numbers known as pi.
3.14159265358979323846264338327.
For Natalia Grace, the Barnetts were a fading memory. They'd cut off all contact, and the reason wasn't a mystery. Not to Natalia, anyway. But the world wouldn't learn for another 6 years exactly why the Ukrainian special needs orphan was disowned. In 2019, the state of Indiana charged Michael and Christine Barnett, by then divorced, with neglect of a dependent. And the floodgates opened. The former couple went public with bizarre allegations that the little girl they'd adopted, hobbled by dwarfism, not only was a grown-up, but a sociopath, they said. They called Natalia, quote, a con artist who supposedly tried to kill Christine at least twice, first by poisoning her coffee.
Natalia would do things like place clear thumbtacks on the stairs face up, so that when we would walk up the stairs, we would be stepping on thumbtacks to pain and injure ourselves. She had attempted to kill my wife for the 2nd time, this time by trying to pull her into an electric fence.
She was hiding knives in our couches. She was talking about she was going to kill family members. She's standing in the middle of the room and she would say, I'm waiting for the right time. She poisoned people. She put chemicals in the coffee.
Natalia denied it all.
Do you think that happened?
No. She said that I hid knives on top of the fridge, under the fridge, in the cabinets, even on her office desk.
How did you get something on top of the refrigerator?
I can't even reach it, not even with a chair, I couldn't reach it.
Natalia sat down with Dr. Phil the year the Barnetts were charged.
Did you ever want to stab them?
No.
Did you ever make plans to stab them?
No. If I ever went in the room, it was to wake them up because I was either scared of a nightmare or something like that. But I never went in their room. I didn't.
For Michael Barnett's trial, the state tracked down Natalia's birth mother and determined that if the backdated birth certificate was right, if Natalia really had been born way back in 1989, as the probate court had ruled, instead of 2003, as the adoption papers said, then her mother would have had to have given birth at the age of 10. An investigation discovery docuseries called The Curious Case of Natalia Grace took the further step of DNA testing Natalia herself. Their findings? She probably was closer to 9 than 6 when the Barnetts brought her home, but she was nowhere near 20. The jury found Michael not guilty of neglect, and the charges against Christine, those were dropped. In the meantime, Michael would blame his wife for everything.
I had the same monster you did. I was exceptionally controlled and put down and threatened, was minimalized. Anything that was who I was ripped from me, and I was guided and instructed to be exactly what she wanted me to be. I tried to leave her no less than 10 times.
Michael and Natalia sat down together for the first time in a decade as part of this year's sequel to the Curious Case documentary called Natalia Speaks. Christine Barnett did not appear, but was very much part of the narrative.
Christine said that adopting me was this mission of love. And never once did I see any love. I feel like it was a mission of like boosting her ego.
With cameras rolling, it was Natalia's turn to make accusations. She said Christine beat her and pepper sprayed her, and then invented new forms of cruelty.
Like, just looking at the house, like, it just reminds me of when Christine had me walk all the way around the block with no shoes, and my feet were bleeding by the time I got to the steps.
Wow.
And she was mad about it.
In a Facebook post, now deleted, Christine denies, quote, any abuse of Natalia, end quote, and says Natalia remains, quote, a very much loved and cared for member of my family, end quote. But she doesn't take back any of her accusations, and in the very same post calls Natalia, quote, a sociopath. In 2023, Natalia Grace was adopted again by an Indiana minister named Antoine Mans and his wife Cynthia. The Manses had taken her in a decade earlier, soon after the Barnetts had put her out.
Get that impression.
They all appeared together on Dr. Phil, and Cynthia testified on Natalia's behalf at Michael Barnett's trial, which made an unexpected phone call to the producers of the ID series even more of a bombshell. Just days before the premiere of Natalia Speaks, Antoine Mans told the producers, quote, something ain't right with Natalia. This girl is tweaking, end quote. The phone call aired in the final moments of the series' final episode.
If she led to us, we have held her hostage, made us look like we're the enemy.
Natalia stabbing her family in the back over a complete lie.
We're done.
Yes.
We're done with it.
But then, another 180. The very next week, Cynthia Mans told an interviewer, and I quote, we are absolutely perfect. No, she doesn't live with us, but we are fine. We gonna make it, end quote. And Natalia Grace? She's fine too, or so she says. On January 5th, she told her Instagram followers, thank you all for your support and prayers. I wish I could tell you more, but I signed an agreement with the Curious Case show to keep things confidential for now. Just know I am okay. Love y'all. Hashtag safe. Hashtag living my best life. And we now know that she's been living that best life with Vincent and Nicole DePaul, a couple with dwarfism like Natalia, whom she's known for more than a decade. There's also a boyfriend who lives in the UK and whom Natalia met online. and accusations that the Manses were only using Natalia and their many other adopted kids for money. Again, accusations. And Natalia's sudden move from family number 2 to family number 3 just before Christmas a year ago, well, that was the stuff of spy movies. Take a look.
Oh, come on, Natalia. Oh, there she is. There she is. There she is. She's confused. Can I help her? We gotta do this quick. Hi, Natalia.
This is our driver. My mom's there.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Hi, Mom. Just not know it all right now. Freaking out.
You okay? No.
It's okay.
I know. It's just really hard. I know. You need help? Okay. Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love you. I love you.
Oh my God. I'm hyperventilating right now. My dad is gonna snap.
Just so much to talk about there, honestly. But The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, the final chapter, that is streaming right now on Max.